Howdy class, my name is Joseph Murray and today I will show you guys my rough draft for the committee testimony speech. My committee testimony will be in regards to the passing of Proposition 207. For those of you who don't know, Proposition 207 is the voter-initiated ballot which seeks to legalize the manufacture, sale, and use of recreational marijuana in Arizona. Alright, let's get started guys. Good afternoon, committee members and Madam Chair. My name is Joseph Murray and I have prepared for you a testimony regarding the intricacies of financial benefits or the lack thereof regarding Voter Initiative Proposition 207. The proposition's official name is the Smart and Safe Act. The Smart and Safe Act summary states, this act permits limited possession, transfer, cultivation, and use of marijuana by adults 21 years or older. This act protects employer and property owner rights, bans smoking in public places, imposes a 16% excise tax on marijuana to fund public safety, community colleges, infrastructure, public health, and community programs. This act authorizes state and local regulations for the sale and production of marijuana by a limited number of licenses, requires impairment to the slightest degree for marijuana DUIs, transfers monies from the medical marijuana fund, permits the expungement of some marijuana violations, and prescribes penalty for other violations. My testimony today will attempt to clarify just how the many benefits derived from the Smart and Safe Act would most likely play out here in Arizona, as well as the potential risks to our youth. Due to the fact that the legalization of recreational marijuana is a relatively new occurrence here in the United States, the positive claims in this testimony will come from the 17-page Smart and Safe Act, reports regarding the legalization of recreational marijuana in states who have legalized it, as well as by taking a look into the prospective use of the monies derived from marijuana taxes. The Smart and Safe Act promises millions in annual tax revenue to be added to the Public Safety Fund. The Smart and Safe Act would accomplish this by enacting a 16% tax on the sale of recreational marijuana in the state of Arizona. These tax monies would then be sent to the Public Safety Fund, where the money would trickle down into the police and fire departments, our community colleges, and our road systems in that order. In a perfect world, the tax revenue from the sale of recreational marijuana would be a great benefit to our state. However, I would be remiss in my duty in giving both sides of the story if I did not inform this committee on the potential financial pitfalls of legalizing recreational marijuana here in Arizona. The Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry made a resolution of the legislation of recreational marijuana which stated, despite the assurances of marijuana proponents, more harm than good will result from the legalization. This potential consequence of legalization are severe, ranging from an uptick in workplace accidents and lower overall workplace productivity to jeopardizing our workforce development efforts. If legalization passes by this initiative, it will be essentially carved into stone. Current Arizona law severely limits the ability of the legislature to reverse or alter a voter-passed measure, even in cases of severe unintended consequence or a public health emergency. We should not pass a new law by initiative that will be impossible to ever change or undo, nor should we encourage special interests to use Arizona's ballot box as a personal laboratory for risky experiments. This statement was by Glenn Hamer. He is the president and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. At a first glance, the statement from the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry seems much like an oxymoron, given the fact that tens of millions of dollars in tax revenue would be raised from the sale of recreational marijuana. Why would the Chamber of Commerce be against millions in tax revenue? Well, the important aspect of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce's decision comes from a report from the Centennial Institute regarding the legalization of recreational marijuana in Colorado. This report on the recreational marijuana in the Centennial Institute found that DUIs and traffic deaths in Colorado more than doubled after the legalization of recreational marijuana. This, in turn, led to a spike in the costs to the Colorado's Public Safety Fund for police and fire department responding to deadly car accidents. Autopsies of the deceased in these fatal Colorado accidents found that triple the amount of drivers had intoxicating levels of marijuana in their system after the crash, after the legalization of recreational marijuana, as compared to before. The Centennial Institute then discovered that a total increase in the cost of the Public Safety Fund was 4 times that of the total tax revenue gained from recreational marijuana use. Simply put, it costs Colorado more money to clean up deadly crash sites due to drivers intoxicated with marijuana than the total tax revenue for Colorado. This is why the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry made a statement condemning this smart and safe act. Clearly, Arizona is not Colorado, so we cannot be sure that the legalization of recreational marijuana in Arizona would have similar effects as it did in Colorado. However, it is a fact that we must at least consider. Yes, more tax revenue will be acquired. But yes, more costs could arise from the legalization of recreational marijuana. This is an especially important thing to consider in Arizona, since the police and fire departments' needs supersede that of community colleges and infrastructure. If a spike in policing costs were to occur in Arizona, all tax money would go into the police departments, since community colleges get what is left over rather than having first priority to the tax money acquired. The second part of my testimony will be about potential risks to our youth, as with any argument, there are benefits and there are detractors. There are pros and there are cons. I have already spoken to the potential for tax revenue, but I have also spoken to the potential for financial burden from the legalization of recreational marijuana. Now, it is time to speak on the potential risks of legalizing recreational marijuana to our kids. A study by the New York Times regarding marijuana use on developing brains came away with multiple conclusions. First off, the brain is not fully developed until it is 25 years old. Secondly, marijuana use inhibits brain development. Third, marijuana use can cause permanent damage to the social and emotive pathways in our brain, thus affecting the ways we can assess and interact with the social world. And lastly, when marijuana use starts before the brain is fully developed, dependence can and will occur. Furthermore, the 2017-2018 National Survey on Health and Drug Use used a model to find the prevalence of drug use in youth. This model found that all of the states with recreational marijuana use were also had the highest rates for child drug use. The National Survey on Drug Use and Health did not give an explanation as to why this correlation may have occurred, nor did they go so far as to say that legalization of marijuana had a causal relationship to child drug use. However, this is a possibility, and it is a possibility that we must investigate. With that in mind, I will give my closing statement. The Smart and Safe Act proposes a vast amount of possible benefits to the state of Arizona. However, with these benefits come quite a few unexplored risks, due to the fact that there could possibly be a causal relationship with legalization of recreational marijuana with childhood drug use. In tandem with the possible health effects on children who are exposed to marijuana, it would be prudent for further studying on the possible outcomes of recreational marijuana use before we vote it into law. Furthermore, there is an uncertainty regarding the use and allocation of tax revenues. This is due to the fact that tax revenues will exist, but additional costs could offset or even outweigh these tax gains. My suggestion is for all members of this committee to do more research regarding the implications and possible outcomes of legalizing recreational marijuana. This is because, like most political topics, what is promised may not always be what is delivered. The promise of millions of dollars to education is amazing, but it's only amazing if it actually occurs. Additionally, voter propositions cannot be changed, negated, or fixed by legislative actions. They can only be fixed by another voter proposition. This would require having a referendum to nullify or change a voter proposition, and this is extremely difficult. This is because the only way to change a proposition once it has been voted into action is to make a second voter proposition. As simple as this sounds, a voter proposition to cancel another voter proposition almost never gains enough votes or even voter attention or traction during an election. Psychologically, voters would rather vote on new laws rather than fixing the wording of one line of a law which is years old. In conclusion, regardless of the merits or the drawbacks of legalizing recreational marijuana in Arizona, we ought to do our due diligence to make sure we have done all that we can to ensure that we are making the right decision, whatever that decision may be. Once voted into law, our legislatures cannot go back and change it. We are making a near permanent decision, which we should be wholly informed with before proceeding. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that answers any questions you had on the more nuanced view on the finances of legalizing recreational marijuana. Feel free to ask me any questions, and good luck researching. Thank you.